Welcome, everyone. This is George Anton here, and today I have a very special guest. This lady, so a lot of celebrities out there are known by one name, like Oprah or Madonna or Prince. And so, you know what, you hear one name and you know who that is. So, we have the equivalent of that, and her name is Essie. So, Essie's full name is Essie Kwabi, but we all know her as Essie, and everyone knows who Essie is. She's well known in our community and an incredible lady. And so I'm so excited about having her here. I'm going to have her talk about her background here in a minute because she has a very interesting title, which I'm going to have her talk about. But before I jump into that, first, I want to welcome you, Essie. How are you?
Good, thank you. Thanks for having me,
You're
George.
welcome. You know what? I'm so excited about having you here on the call. And I have to say, I there's so many things that are amazing about you, but the first one I want to talk about is your background actually and the title. So let's start with your background. Tell us your story and how you came about to Texas.
George, I first came to the United States 14 years ago, and I was a winner of a lottery visa, what we call the diversity lottery visa. So I won that. I was in Togo at the time, and I came in 2003 with that visa. So I was in Massachusetts for about 3 years, did my undergraduate degree over there in biology with a chemistry minor, and decided to move down to Texas to join my husband, who was living up down here in Texas, Houston. So I moved down, and with my chemistry degree, I was able to work in the oil and gas industry. I thought I loved it. I was working in the lab as a chemist, and I loved it. I love the oil industry because I've only known the biotechnical industry. So I decided to go back to school and do a master's in petroleum engineering so that I could be an engineer in the oil industry. And as I was in school, I took a class called petrophysics in my very first semester. It was a very interesting class, so I decided to focus my studies, my master's studies, in petrophysics. So today I am a petrophysicist.
That's incredible. Whatever it means just sounds so so amazing. So like I'm all in awe with this title, petrophysicist. I feel like just going to college just to get that, just so I can call myself petrophysicist.
It's not
Oh,
easy.
like a rocket scientist or something.
It sounds fancy. It was challenging, but it was enjoyable, and it was definitely worth it.
That's excellent. So I want to start with your career. I know at some point you decided to um, join Finance Academy. Can you share with us what were you thinking about prior to that? What were you looking for that you found in Finance Academy? So walk me through some of the challenges, if you will, that made you look for a solution.
Yeah. So when as I had multiple jobs during my 14-year period here in the United States, I found out that yes, we make an income from work, and there was there could be a better way or an easier way to have some income which is not active, so passive income. So I was really what I was looking for was passive income, and I run into you in the local RIA club, and I saw that what you were teaching was what I was looking for at the time. You were teaching the wealthy code, which is mainly for passive income. So I thought this is something that I'm looking for. So I might as well take this class. And I'm glad I did because 2 years later or a year and a half later, I've taken so many of your classes, and I feel like I have, at least I'm on my way to achieving that passive income goal that I had when I first started the journey.
So what was it about the training that made you think this is unique, this is different? Because I know one of the things you mentioned to me is that you once you started taking our training, you started realizing this is sort of the way for you. What
Yes.
was it that made you realize that or think that?
I took a few courses before I met you. I took real estate courses, flipping courses, various courses, tax liens. And I realized that a lot of them, even though they advertise as passive income, weren't really passive income. You had to put in the time, the money, the resource, the energy, the emotional uh, drain that comes with it. And it was mostly a job. So I didn't want to have two full-time jobs. So when I saw your course, I thought this sounds reasonable. This sounds like something that the wealthy know and the common person doesn't know. So you are bringing to us, the common people, these strategies that only the top 3% know. So this must be the way. It sounded like it should be the way because I just couldn't see any other way. Everything else that I have tried was a job. And this wasn't.
So, and one of the things we do in our trainings, we go into a lot of numbers. And I know a lot of people get scared of numbers, and when they hear numbers, they're like, oh my God. But, our belief is that you have to learn the finance part because everything is really, we're playing in a game of finance. Did you feel like the numbers were scary to you?
The numbers weren't scary. Now, I obviously am a numbers person, taking a lot of numbers classes. So it might come maybe easier for me than some other people, but you broke it down so easily. You broke it down, made it so simple that anybody can really do it.
Yeah.
And I mean, even my 10-year-old daughter thinks she can handle it. So that's one thing I really appreciated. And plus, you had a bunch of spreadsheets that had all these calculations already done for you. All you had to do was put in the numbers in the appropriate field, and you didn't have to manually type or punch in numbers in a calculator or anything like that. So I think that the numbers is not something that anyone should be afraid of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Essi, so one of the things you're referring to, and I'm going to just make sure I keep all our listeners with in terms of context. So typically we have different levels, if you will, in the training. We have the investing level, which is what you're talking about, and then we have the non-investing level or non-investor level, which is the like the Finance Academy. So let's go back to the Finance Academy, and we'll come back to the investing level because that's what you're talking about now. So with the Finance Academy, which is really these building blocks, and that are not, you don't have to be an investor, you don't have to buy stuff. It's really about how to use finance to tweak the whole financial system to work for you. So what's your opinion on Finance Academy? And once you answer that, tell me which of the building blocks really stood out for you.
The first question, repeat that first question.
Okay. So the first question is, what's your opinion about the non-investor level? So the Finance Academy.
Yes. So the non-investor level of the Finance Academy, I thought was awesome because a lot of us some of us have full-time jobs, and we are looking for something that wouldn't require too much work to do. And I think that is what the Finance Academy non-investor offers, is just do this, sit back, and get paid, pretty much. So it's easy enough for anyone who is willing to put in just a little bit of effort to set up. It's easy enough so that they could do that on their own and reap the rewards that come with it. So it's simple, it's manageable, it's doable, and it definitely works. And some of the modules that I have implemented is the MSA, the Master Sweep account. I think that was just awesome. It was just awesome. It helps you pay down debt much faster than you'd maybe three times faster than you could do it just on your own. So I've also implemented the insurance arbitrage, which I thought was a very, very unique way of seeing things and using insurance for our benefits. And I also implemented the family bank, which is something that I would definitely recommend to anybody who has a family and is willing to start a legacy that they can pass on to their offsprings. So those are some example of those the modules that I
Yeah,
implement.
and I know you've done a few more. One of them is the mortgage management. The other one
Yes,
is the credit management system.
yes, correct.
There's quite a few. So let's
Yes.
pick one of those. Let's talk about the insurance arbitrage.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things we talk about the insurance arbitrage is that you set it up right now, and the expression we use is that it sits in your filing cabinet, and you let it just work, and then in 15 years or whatever it is in the future, it's gonna generate tax-free income
Yes.
for for many years. And the great thing about it is what we tell people is that there's a plan B. So everything you do between now and next 15 years, even if you screw up completely, it's going to be there. So can you expand on what your thoughts on this, and how simple was it to put in place, and how much work is it after you set it up?
The insurance arbitrage I thought was the best thing in there in the modules. I mean, all of them are good.
Yeah.
The insurance arbitrage, I particularly loved it because it is so simple. There was a quote that I wanted to quote you. You said that you could either buy $1 million house or you can buy insurance arbitrage, and it's like buying $1 million mansion and putting it in your filing cabinet. And I love that because I feel like even if I didn't do anything, like you said, with my 401k, if my 401k went down to zero on the day that I wanted to retire, this is still there. It's not going to go down. It only goes up, and it's going to start bringing in income on a regular basis that would sustain our lives. So, like I said, for me, passive income, it's a big deal. And that definitely answered my question about passive income without having to do much.
So now that you set it up, okay, so it's
Yes.
set up, how much work is it between now and the next 10 years or whatever, 15 years?
Once a year, I would talk to my insurance agents, and we would do some tweaking. That since we set it up in October, was it October? I believe it was October. We haven't done anything. We're just waiting till this year,
Yeah.
October, to consult with him again and do whatever we have to do, making sure that everything is lined up properly on schedule and everything. It's very easy.
So, one of the things we talk about for the building blocks, each building block serves a very specific purpose. So this one here, we talked about the future. So it's going to increase your net worth and generate income in the future. So that is what this does. So the other one you touched on is the mastership account, which a lot of our members implement, which is how to pay off your debt super fast, including your mortgage and all that stuff.
Yes.
And so that also starts acting relatively soon because, some of our students, as some of our members are refinancing in 2-3 years, getting all that money tax free, and they can use it for investments and things like this. The other part you touch on, I want to really talk about that, is the mortgage management system.
Yes.
And one of the things people don't realize, or they do realize, is that the mortgage is the biggest, or buying a property is the biggest investment most people do in their lives, in their lifetime. And can you expand on what are your thoughts on having the wrong mortgage or not knowing anything about the mortgage and just getting a regular mortgage? What happens?
So with the mortgage management system, I thought it was also another eye opener, which is counterintuitive. You have what the mortgage people tell you, you have what the brokers tell you, maybe even the real estate agent tells you, and then we have the right way, which I think yours is the right way. Now, it has helped us structure our mortgage properly such that the system is working in our favor and not in the bank's favor. So, and it also would help us grow our net worth over time because you teach us how to use not only a properly structured mortgage with low loan constants. I know it sounds a little bit fancy for the regular person, but trust me, it's not that difficult. And so you pick the right loan constant for your mortgage, you structure it properly, and you're able to make the system work in your favor by doing so. Now, in the equity management block, that module that you talked about, it teaches you how to actually use your equity to grow your net worth rather than just sitting in your house, for example. So that is also another block that we are implementing, and we're going to be using equity from personal home to generate passive income in the near future.
That's excellent. And so for the people that are listening to this and thinking, this sounds way too complicated, or this is something I can just go to a library and borrow a book on managing my budget. It sounds like this is what it is. What would you say to them?
I don't think there's any book out there except for George's books that would teach you the right way of doing things. And this is definitely not a get rich quick type scheme, but if you take the time to implement what George is teaching, then you would achieve results over time. And there's no book out there that can teach you, get you to where you'd be, let's say 5 years from now, versus if you implemented the modules in the Finance Academy today. So if you compare where you'd be 5 years from now after implementing finance versus reading a book, I think finance beats it. Finance beats it.
Yeah. Essi, this is great. And let me ask you one more question about where things are for you right now. So you started with us, your journey, what, a year and a half ago, you said?
About, yes.
Yeah. Okay, about a year and a half ago. So looking back now, you've taken quite a few trainings with us now. So let's go back to the different levels now. You've taken the non-investor level, you've taken the investor level, or the investing level, because it's our training is different than what's out there. But and you've taken a number of things. So looking back, where is your life now, and how would you compare your life now in one sentence compared to where you were before joining Finance Academy?
One sentence is going to be hard to do.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead. You have 2 sentences.
I am definitely at a happier place now because it is less stressful. I just have peace of mind, more peace of mind now than I did a year and a half ago, because I know that I am implementing modules that are going to help me not only in the near future, but in the long run as well. So just that peace of mind I think that's the biggest thing for me is the peace of mind.
And actually you're touching on a very powerful thing there, the words peace of mind, because ultimately that's what people are seeking. And so people think they have to go buy 20, 30, 50 properties, all that deal with tenants, all that stuff, and you're not having to do any of that stuff.
No.
But you're using finance in the most interesting way to really help you leap forward. And getting the result of peace of mind is really, really, really important to us. The other part that I want to really stress on is a lot of people feel like they have to quit their jobs, go do real estate investing full time. And I tell people you don't have to do that. Just if you enjoy what you do, keep doing it, and just build these financial shortcuts that help you leap forward. These financial strategies. What's your opinion about the idea of quitting your job and doing this full time and all that stuff versus what you do now?
Now, if you quit your job, you're just replacing it with another job. If you go into real estate or whatever it is that you go into, you're probably replacing it with another job. So if you already have a good job, a good income, you like what you do, there's no need with what you're teaching for you to have to quit your job versus flipping, for example. It is a lot of work, and it is a job on its own. So if you wanted to flip properties, for example, then yeah, maybe you can quit your job, but you're just getting yourself a new job. And with this, you really don't have to do that. You really don't, because it's passive, and it just, there's no need for you to do that, period.
Yeah, and the other part we tell people is quitting your job isn't bad or anything if they decide they want to do, if they don't like their work and they want to do it full time or whatever. But the big thing is to start with what we call the perfect day. And the perfect day, so we make sure people understand this idea of the perfect day, which is what would life look like if money wasn't an issue? You wake up on a Saturday morning, and what would your day look like? And really describing that in such detail, and really focusing towards that. And a lot of people realize that, if money wasn't an issue, what would that look like? And that really helps all of us as finance hackers really focus on that and use that as a starting point. Have you done that exercise, and can you expand on your perfect day? Because I know you love singing and stuff. I'm trying to bring that out from. Go ahead.
Yes, I did do the exercise, and yes, my perfect day involves singing because it just brings me a lot of joy. And for somebody else, it may be something else, but for me, music is just a wonderful part of my life, and I think should be for everybody. So yeah, with my perfect day, waking up in the morning, being able to go out to the gym, for example, work out a little bit, come home, enjoy the day with the kids. I know they go to school, so being able to drop them off at school in the morning or pick them up in the afternoon, because I don't do that right now. When I'm at work, obviously I cannot drop them off, but for me, being able to do that, for example, and being able to enjoy music with my family. I have my elder daughter. She plays the piano. My mom plays the piano. My brother plays the piano.
Wow.
They just sing. So being able to have those moments with the family is certainly more enjoyable for me.
What percentage of your perfect day are you living right now, you think?
I would say maybe about 50%.
50?
Yes. Yeah,
Uh,
but compared to a year and a half ago, that's an improvement.
that's excellent. What does the future look like for you?
I think the future looks bright. I can't wait to see it. with the things that I'm implementing now, just knowing that eventually it would get me to where I am wanting to go, having passive income from the insurance arbitrage, for example, and being able to retire even if my 401k tanks, and the peace of mind, the quality time with family and friends is, it is, you can really do anything, George, with the program that you teach, especially with the investor programs. The sky is the limits, and I don't even know if the sky is truly the limits. You can, your imagination is your limits, is what limits you. So there's no limits. Whatever limit is there, you put it on yourself. So
Yep.
the future is bright.
So one last thing in closing, Essie. So the other part we didn't talk about, I'd love to have you just say a few words about it. But one of the things we talk about is the word impact and also significance.
Yes.
And people realize when they go through some of the training is that really things, it's really about significance versus success. And you're experiencing some of that right now.
I am.
Can you share, without going into too much detail, but just, about the word significance and impact and how much joy that brings you in your life?
Yes. Now, a lot of us, when starting, we think we want to be rich, we want to be wealthy, but at the end of the day, what does money bring you? Nothing. It doesn't bring you anything. I've come a long way in the 14 years that I've been here in the United States. I've come quite a long way from having, when I landed here, I had only $1,500 in my pocket to my name. And today I'm in a better place, but that has never really brought me joy. Money never really satisfied me. And if I have more of it, I don't see how I'm going to be satisfied, because obviously that's not the solution. But I found that there's something more than that to life. It's not just money, and it's significance. Knowing that your life matters, knowing that you are able to make a difference in somebody else's life is what makes life worth living, in my opinion. So yes, we want to be rich, we want to be wealthy, we want to be able to give to our families, but so what? We want to enjoy our own lives, but so what doesn't really bring any real joy. So the biggest joy is significance, is making a difference in other people's lives. And I'm definitely experiencing that right now through your training. So thank you.
Excellent. Essie, thank you so much for being on this call. It is truly an honor, and it's always great to see you. And again, you're known as Essie, and that's it. You're like the Oprah in our community. So
that is awesome. Thank you so
much.
much.
Madonna too, because you sing too. So, so it is great having you. Any final words of wisdom you want to share?
Final words of wisdom is, if you are signing up for George's program, which I definitely encourage you to, anybody who doesn't sign up, for me, I look at them as being lost. So I would encourage you to sign up, but more importantly, I encourage you to practice or implement the modules, because it serves no good to have all this knowledge and not do anything about it. I mean, you're no different from somebody who just doesn't know. So ignorance is a disease, like my dad likes to say. So when you know the information, when you have that information, implement it, and implement it as fast as you can, so that 10 years from now, you don't look back and say, I wish I started today. So that would be my last words of wisdom.
Thank you so much, Essie, and it's always a pleasure. We'll talk soon. Take care. Have a great day.
Thank you too, George.